Hello, welcome. Divine blessings to you all. My name is Catherine Teferet-Levy. I'm the founder of the School of Enlightenment, where I help spiritual teachers, healers, and leaders to ascend into their divine roles in the new earth. So today I wanted to share a video and a teaching and a stream of consciousness on the topic of the war to end all wars. And this idea that we can transform tragedy into triumph. This is what we do. This is what humans do. Humans are constantly transforming tragedy into triumph. And I'll give you an example. Maybe this happened to you or somebody you know. They found out they were sick. They found out they had cancer, or there was some kind of great loss or some kind of tragedy in their personal life. And there are two ways a person can deal with that. They can either let it overcome them, let it kill them in a way and never emerge the other side of that, or they can choose to turn that tragedy into triumph and work on themselves and heal themselves and ultimately come out the other end a healthier, more enlightened, happier, more conscious human being. I see that all the time in the healing realm. People who got life-altering, near-death experiences, cancers, terminal illnesses, and they completely transform their lives for the better. They often become healers. They often become teachers, imparters of wisdom. And how I view this war that's going on in Israel, in Gaza right now, I see it like that. There is this idea that's floating around in the consciousness, the collective consciousness of the light workers, not of the masses, of the light workers, that this can be, if we choose it, the war to end all wars. Let me repeat that. This can be, if we choose it, the war to end all wars. Now, there is an idea that I think everybody can agree with. There's an idea that Muslims can agree with, the Gazans can agree with, the Israelis can agree with. I think we can all agree. Let us make this the war to end all wars. Let us take this tragedy and let us turn it into triumph. But how do we do that? How do we do that when there's so much hate and vengeance and blame and judgment of the other? The world is completely triggered, divided, polarized. It's like you're either on this side or you're on that side. For the masses anyway. But for people like me, and the people that I associate with, the people that I work very closely with, the people that I'm constantly transmitting peace, transmitting the frequency and the vibration of the new earth, of a world without war. For us, it doesn't exist like that. For us, there is no polarity. For us, there is only one truth, and that truth is peace. That truth is non-violence. That truth is unity and harmony. And we are collectively holding that frequency just in the same way I do. When I have a client that comes to me and has experienced profound tragedy, loss, illness, whatever it might be, I hold space for that person while they cry, while they process, while they share their traumas, their emotions, their limiting beliefs, and I hold space for them without judgment. And I see what their future can be. I see what their future destiny is. And that is a whole, healed, happy, and aligned person. In the same way that I work that way with my clients, I work that way with the earth. I am a peacemaker. I have been a peacemaker since I was 19 years old. I moved to the Middle East when I was 19 years old, and there I discovered very early on that my passion, more than anything, was to bring peace to the Middle East. I lived over 10 years in the Middle East. I live in Israel right now. I've lived in Palestine. I've lived in Egypt. I've lived in Dubai. And I've traveled extensively around the region, especially inside Israel and Palestine. And I was a journalist. And I was very polarized. I spent most of my 20s and 30s arguing with people, debating with people. I knew every fact about the conflict. But there came a point when, it was quite early in my journey. I was 22 years old. I arrived in Ramallah in the West Bank. And as soon as I arrived, the first Israeli-Gaza war broke out. It was horrifying. It was highly traumatic for me. And everybody, the whole country, everybody was just in absolute suffering and tragedy and pain. And I was over there volunteering. I actually left the country and I gave up hope. And from that moment, I decided I had to do the work on myself. For the next 5 years, I traveled around Asia, I traveled around South America, meeting with shamans and priests and monks and gurus, and learning the healing techniques and the means of coming into wholeness and unity and love within myself, so that I could actually approach the broader conflict from a place of peace. That's how I did the work. If you were feeling polarized, if you were feeling hate, if you were feeling depressed, this conflict is only bringing to the fore, bringing to the surface what lays within you. This war is going on because this is how we think. We think violently. We think divisively. We think I and the other. We don't think in unity consciousness. We have to start thinking in unity consciousness. And the only way to do that is to find unity within yourself. And for the yogis out there, you'll know that the word yoga actually means union. And the Hebrew word for yoga, at least to the Essenes, is called yichud. Yichud means union. And the system of yoga is a system of practices, be it meditation, mantras, body work, stretches, and it's so much deeper than all of that. And it's there to help us to find union within ourselves, so that when we are faced with conflict outside of us, we can come back to our center of unity and union and healing and wholeness within ourselves and project that out and hold space. Now, I don't expect the entire world and the masses to get what I'm saying. I really don't. But there are people out there who are watching this video right now who do resonate with my words and who do understand that there is a higher truth to what I'm saying. If there's one thing I learned from being a journalist for 10 years, a peace activist in the Middle East, it is this. There are so many foundational lies on top of lies, on top of lies, on both sides, that it is impossible for us to find a resolution through facts and figures, because there are lies on both sides. Now, I have a very unique position and perspective. I'm one of the few people in the world who is literally unbiased and impartial and neutral. I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim. I have, however, lived for many years with the Jewish people and lived for many years with the Muslim people in their own lands, studying their religions, studying their people. And there's one thing that I like to say. I have one foot in Palestine and I have one foot in Israel. And I believe in peace. And before we even start to think about how that's going to look, before our fears start to come and say it's not possible, let all that go and just feel for a moment. Feel for a moment, let it land. The war to end all wars. Imagine 20 years, 30 years from now, in the history books that are being written about this time, we look back on this conflict and we say that this is the war to end all wars. Now, people are sometimes surprised that all this attention is on Israel. Well, we are in the redemption, and this is the Holy Land. Do you know there's a prophecy by Isaiah that says the land will be married, and it will be called by a new name that God designates. And there's a name, the Essenes talk about the name for this nation. It's called Yesharel. Yesharel is the same spelling with the same letters as Yisrael, only it has a very different meaning. And any rabbi will tell you this. The true meaning of Yisrael means he who fights, wrestles, or argues with Elohim. Elohim. Yesharel is he who is straight with Elohim. Yashar. And this is what we need to get back to. We need to realize that there is one God of the Jews, of the Muslims, of the Christians, of every religion, every creed, every color. It is one God. And the Jewish Kabbalistic and even the Jewish tradition is full of prophecies about the times of the Mashiach, when Kol HaNeshama Tehilel Yah, every soul will call upon the one name of Yah. We must return to our oneness. And in order for us to bring about this shift in consciousness, in order for us to receive the Mashiach or Messiahs, there's many, there's one, there's two, it's a consciousness, it's all of the above and more. Before we're able to actually see a physical evidence in a person, before our eyes are going to allow us to recognize that energy, that frequency of Mashiach, of Christ, of of the saviors, we must first awaken that consciousness within ourselves. And that is through transforming tragedy into triumph. And triumph is not a military win. And while it may occur like that to begin with, this is not the win. This is not the triumph we are aiming for. We are aiming for the war to end all wars. We are agreeing. We are making an agreement within ourselves, with each other. Let's try this. Let's want this. Let's call for this. Let us call, let us raise our voices unto the heavens, unto the humankind, unto the earth, the war to end all wars. There's an Essene teaching about Eden consciousness. Eden is the Hebrew word for paradise, delight, Gan Eden, heaven, or heaven on earth, or Garden of Eden. And Eden consciousness is the consciousness that the Essenes, the Nazarene Essenes, which were, of course, a sect of Judaism, and then, of course, when Yeshua and Miriam came, they became a sect of Christianity, but very different from the mainstream versions. They have their own book and everything. It's called the Holy Megillah, which is just starting to become public now. The Nazarenes teach that Eden consciousness is a consciousness that we cultivate within ourselves, and that even when we walk amidst war and tragedy, we are still able to hold that frequency within. And that's why these holy ones, the Essenes, they were always a very small group, and they were all the great prophets and all the great leaders of our history. They were able to bring peace, bring change, bring such profound prophecy for mankind, because they were holding the frequency of Eden consciousness. And so my advice to you is this: anything that disturbs your peace, detach. And I don't agree with not watching images and engaging in debates is putting your head in the sand. I don't think of that at all. I think detaching from things that shake you to the core and make you upset and depressed and inspire feelings of hate and vengeance is putting your head in the heavens, not in the sand, in the heavens, because this is exactly what I'm doing. And I was a journalist for 10 years. I followed the news religiously. I wrote the news. And I'm telling you right now, as a healer, as a peacemaker, as a spiritual teacher, the most effective, efficient, powerful way that we can affect change is by being that change. Meaning, turn off the news or whatever it is you're watching that's giving you such horrific, unfollow those accounts that are showing you. That doesn't mean you're putting your head in the sand. It means you're putting your head in heaven, and you are not disconnecting from the war. There's no way to disconnect from this war, because this war is the redemption. This war is the war to end all wars. This war affects each and every one of us. What happens in Israel and Palestine happens in the world. Israel-Palestine is a microcosm for the world. When there is peace in the land, there will be peace in the world. And so, by shutting off that which inspires negative feelings, you're going to connect with those things that inspire positive feelings. And from that place of peace and calm and alignment, you transmit your prayers. You open your heart and you ask the Creator. You demand, you command, you affirm. Jaja, Yah, Allah, whatever it is, let this be the war to end all wars. Let this be the war to end all wars. Let this be the war to end all wars. And so I'm transmitting this consciousness, this Eden consciousness, out to all of you now. I'm transmitting it out to the earth, to the hearts and minds and souls and bodies of all the people in the Middle East, in Israel and Palestine, to the leaders, the decision makers. Join me in transmitting Eden consciousness, peace consciousness, non-violent consciousness, compassion, understanding, and a release of judgment. When we judge the other, our heart closes. There is no compassion. There is no meeting of minds and hearts. There is judgment. You are wrong, I am right. This is the antithesis of peace. We must let go of our judgments of he is evil, she is evil. It is what it is. It is violence from this side, it is violence from that side. And it makes us feel scared. It makes us feel sad. It makes us feel depressed. And our need is for safety. Our need is for peace. Our need is for healing. And our request to each other, to ourselves, and to the Creator is simply, let this be the war to end all wars. I just took you through a non-violent communication right then. I have a feeling, I prophesied that this book is going to be sold, have sales through the roof in these coming weeks. Get yourself a copy of this book. It is absolutely instrumental, fundamental reading. Every child should be educated in this. It's already completely transformed my relationship with my husband. And this book will transform our relationship and the way we view conflict and violence. And it gives us a method to actually approach and deal with violent situations in a way that breeds compassion, understanding, and love between us, because this is what we need. So I'm going to leave it there with 3 shaloms and 3 salams. So join me in chanting. Take a deep breath in. Shalom. 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 And let us chant 3 salams. Salam. 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 Peace and blessings, divine brothers and sisters. We are all one family. Jew, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist. We are all children of God. We are all one family. Our fates are connected. If one loses, we all lose. So let us join together for our triumph, for our victory of good over evil, our victory of light over dark, and our victory of wisdom over ignorance. Om Shalom Namaste.